Today we'll recap a 2020 South Korean apocalyptic horror streaming television series named Sweet Home. As humans turn into savage monsters, one troubled teenager and his neighbors fight to survive and hold on to their humanity. Kindly remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you liked the video. The story begins on a snowy, stormy night in September 2020, when army teams are looking for someone. Then we see some creatures and a boy named Cha Hyun-soo comes out walking. The army has its eyes on him, but they cannot clearly see what it is. He is moving toward the army and they warn him to stop there. But he does not stop, and then the army starts firing on him. And then in a voiceover, it is told that even a light ray of light can dispel deep darkness. He tells that this is the story of him, who is looking for a reason to live in a world where life is overshadowed by death, where every breath is found fighting with death. Now 1 month earlier, Cha Hyun-soo is going somewhere with his computer. That's when he escapes a broken blade of grass cutter. Then the security guard who was cutting the grass comes there and says that he has never seen him before. Who has he come to meet? Hyun-soo tells him that he has just shifted here. Now Hyun-soo is sitting in his room and thinks about suicide. Then he goes to the roof and stands on the edge. Now the scene shifts and a man scolds the security guard and leaves. Then a woman comes there and tells the security guard that someone has sent her fish. But she just eats the expensive fish and gives it to him and leaves. Now when he opens the box, there are raw fishes inside it, with the smell of which blood starts coming out of his nose. Here Hyun-soo is about to jump off the terrace when he hears some sound, and he sees a beautiful girl named Lee Yoon-yu practicing dance on the terrace. She notices him and asks him if he lives alone, and tells him not to die here, after which he leaves from there. Now when Hyun-soo comes down, the guard is peeping into his room. He says that he wants him to sign a form, on which Hyun-soo says that he will do it later. After this he comes to his room and looks out of the peephole. The guard was still peeping into his room. Then a girl passes by and that guard goes after her. Next, we see a girl named Yoon Jae-soo waiting for the lift. Then she sees a woman named Myung-suk coming there with a stroller. Jae-soo tells her that she has shifted here a week ago. Then she bows down to look at the child, but there is no child in the stroller, which she finds very strange, and she does not go to the lift with her. Then a man named Jung Ji-hyun tells her that a year ago the woman's child died in an accident, and since then she has been like this. Yoon Jae-soo tells him that she is a bass guitarist, and Jung Ji-hyun tells her that he teaches the Korean language to people. Now when they comes off the lift, Jung Ji-hyun bumps into a guy named Pyong Sang-wook who looks a bit strange. Now we again see Yoon-yu, who has an injury mark on her leg, when her brother Yoon-hae comes there and gives her money for her dance class. But she says that she has paid the fees. He asks her where did she get the money, to which she says that he does not need to know this. Now the scene shifts and comes to Sang-wook, who has kidnapped a man. He shows him something on the phone, but the man says he doesn't know what it is. And then Sang-wook puts a burning cigarette in his mouth. Then we see Hyun-soo, who decides the 25th of August for suicide. After this, Yoon-yu sees Sang-wook and she tries to talk to him. Now when Hyun-suk comes out of his room, he sees that someone had spread his grocery. Before he could think of anything, he sees a severed head of a cat coming out of his neighborhood, which a girl drags inside and says that she is more hungry. Hyun-soo runs to his room in fear, and then the bell of his room rings, and a girl asks him for help, saying that she is feeling very scared. Hyun-soo talks to her on the door phone, and the girl tells him that when she came home everything was scattered and her cat was missing. There is a lot of blood scattered on the ground. Hyun-soo tells her to keep calm and starts calling the police, but the call doesn't take place. She tries to force him to open the door, but Hyun-soo tells her to show her hands first. Now on hearing this, the behavior of that girl changes, and she starts screaming and asks him to open the door, and blood starts coming from her nose. Now she tries to break the door and starts turning into a monster when there is the sound of a guitar playing from above, and she leaves from there. She goes outside Jae-soo's room and asks her to open the door, and now she has become a complete monster known as a starving monster. Then she tries to break her door, but suddenly everything becomes quiet. Sang-wook had come there and Jae-soo tells him that the woman's face was full of blood. They see that the window glass is broken and they think that she might have jumped from there. On the other hand, all the doors of their building were closed, and Yoon-hae breaks the lock of the control room. A firefighter named Lee-kyung tries to call for help, but the call does not connect. Then Seok-hyun gets the switchboard and everyone stands near the shutter to go out. 𝐁𝐂 presses the button to open the shutter, and here everyone sees a strange creature standing outside, and they try to understand what this thing is. Just then 𝐸𝐈𝐃 also comes there and asks them to close the shutter. But then the monster known as the tongue monster opens his mouth, which everyone gets scared to see, and the monster comes inside. Then he attacks a man with his tongue and sucks all his blood. Then he starts moving towards 𝐁𝐂, but 𝐸𝐈𝐃 attacks him with a fire extinguisher and tells 𝐁𝐂 to close the shutter. He starts pushing the monster out of the building, but then the fire extinguisher becomes empty. Now the monster starts moving toward him, but then 𝐸𝐃 spears the monster and throws him out of the building. Then she starts coming in when the monster attacks her leg, but 𝐸𝐈𝐃 pulls her inside before the shutter closes. Now that monster tries to attack them again, but his tongue can't reach them. And after some time he pulls his tongue back and leaves there. Now after he leaves, everyone comes back out. 𝐁𝐂 says that the government is not able to kill a monster, but then 𝐸𝐈𝐃 says that there is not only one, and they all see that many different types of monsters are roaming freely outside and killing people by attacking them. Now seeing all this, 𝐸𝐈𝐃 says that it seems that this world is going to end very soon. Here Hyeon-soo looks out the window that the whole city was being destroyed and many birds were flying in the sky. Then a lot of blood starts coming from his nose and the screen turns black.